Hi, I'm Congressman Tom Cole, and obviously I'm privileged to represent the area, but more importantly, this is my home. Has been for 53 years, so what happens here is extraordinarily important to me. And I want to start quickly and thank our own two local masters of disasters, and that's Mayor Glenn Lewis and City Manager Steve Eady. I mean, the first response is the first response, and nobody does it better than those two gentlemen and the police and the fire department around here. Sadly, they've probably had too much experience at it, but they're awfully good, and we're very, very fortunate to have that quality of local leadership here. Our county people, Joe, Darren, have been wonderful. Again, they're the next layer here, and couldn't ask for better support than we've gotten. But the governor is my old friend and my old colleague. We served together in the legislature. We served together in the Keating administration. We served together in Congress, and there's nobody that could possibly be better or better prepared to lead us. Governor, I'm so proud of you and all the help. Matter of fact, we were joking back. I said, you must be planning to run against Lewis for mayor of Moore next because you're spending so much time here in the last few days. But she has been tireless, and Glenn will sooner or later hang it up. Your term limited. I could see a deal being worked out here. But we're just proud of our governor and very proud of Albert Ashwood, who as I tell him, we got to stop meeting like this. We've been doing it ever since the Oklahoma City bombing disaster. He's just one of the best in the country. Let me say this, Madam Secretary, it's such a pleasure and a privilege to have you here. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, but the President was kind enough after he'd visited with the governor to reach out and visit with me. I know he's visited with Mayor Lewis as well. That's pretty extraordinary. First thing he did was appropriately, said, I want you to know Michelle and I are praying for you guys, and we know this is tough and very difficult. And then he immediately ticked off the resources that would be available from FEMA and from NORCOM, and mentioned obviously Secretary would be here in relatively short order, and said, look, anything you need, anything, and I want you to call directly. And that was an incredibly generous and gracious gesture, and frankly one that I appreciate. I know the governor and everybody here does, and I know he means it. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm also grateful that I know that the commitment's not just while you guys are here, but for the longer term. And the Speaker of the House, my friend John Boehner, also made it very clear that we're going to be working in a very bipartisan way. That actually does happen in Washington, D.C. Tragically, it usually is something like this sometimes, so hopefully we can get beyond that someday. But I have no doubt that we'll have a tremendous long-term federal response. We've got the immediate needs, and nothing can replace family members. Obviously, they're lost. It's very tough when lives are upset and overturned, and we can do some things to help. We can't make it complete, but over the longer haul, there's all sorts of infrastructure needs and things like that, and I have no doubt we'll work together. And I know Governor Fallon's already been working with the state legislature in the short term to try and get some things set up so that she's free to operate and do what she thinks is appropriate here. So again, we want to thank you here, and I want to end with this, and we have a lot of media here. Thank you for coming. Because quite frankly, every time you cover it, and I've dealt with enough of these things, Americans are really remarkably compassionate and decent people, and if they see there's a need, they respond. And so, they turn to the Red Cross and the Salvation Army and the United Way and these kind of groups very quickly, and it's because you show what's happening here, that there's a really decent people going through a really difficult time that are responding really well, that need some help, and so we appreciate very much that you're here. Thank you.